Oh my god, I'm gonna sneeze for the 50th time. Hello everyone. So, it is like not, let's see, this video is not going up for like quite some time, but I'm like reading like some pretty good books this week, so I really wanted to vlog. I haven't even finished editing the last video, the last reading vlog. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We're doing another reading vlog, and I really don't have like a specific like challenge in mind for this one. In the past video I did spinner picks my page count, and that was so much fun. I actually really enjoyed that, and it has made me really excited to keep reading and everything, so that's really great. In this video I just want to read whatever and for however long. I am all stocked up right now because I've been cleaning. As you can see, we have lost like all of the knickknacks. We ended up getting like the carpet removed from our rooms and replacing them with like the vinyl floor wood thing that we have, and so we had to take everything out of our rooms in order to do this, and so it was like a whole process. It took like a week to get everything out of the rooms because we were working and whatnot, and then it took about like 3 days for the floors to like get finished and like set and everything, and now we're finally putting everything back. And I just have my trinkets left to do, you know, my decor that goes around my room, but I'm tired, so I'm not doing that tonight. I just did my bookshelves tonight, so we have all of my books back in what I think is the correct spot, so yeah. And so tomorrow I will finish up the rest of, you know, the decor stuff, but I've been cleaning and I was outside for a little bit, so I am very stocked up right now, which is not fun, so I'm hoping it, you know, resolves quickly. But yes, anyway, back to the books. I have kind of 3 books that I'm planning on reading. Let me get 2 of them. So the first book that I want to read is Quicksilver. I actually don't know who the author is, but it is on Kindle Unlimited. I forgot to cancel the like trial that I had, so we're just rolling with the subscription now, I guess. And my mom has started reading, so it works out for her because she got herself a Kindle, so we're splitting the subscription cost. It feels a bit more like worth it now to do the Kindle Unlimited subscription. So I'm reading Quicksilver. I'm like just over 200 pages and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I really don't know what it's about, to be honest. You have like Saris, and we're in like this fantasy world, and somehow she gets like sucked into a different world and where there's like fae, and of course there's like a tall, dark, brooding fae warrior who's like a shadow daddy and who's grumpy and has like the sex appeal of a god and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun. The main guy character is called Kingfisher, and him and Saris are a lot of fun. I actually don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. There is a pronunciation guide, but it's kind of annoying to like go and look at it on the Kindle and then jump back to where I was. Well, it's really not. There's a button that says go back to where you were, but I just don't feel like going back and forth. So if I'm mispronouncing Saris, I do apologize. We've met a few other characters, but other than that, there really hasn't been much going on. So I think we're going to be starting to get into a bit more things just because of a certain event that just happened. So yeah, I am really enjoying it. It's fun to be reading like some fantasy again. It is a bit dense, like in the beginning. There's a lot of like, you know, world building just like thrown at you, and you're just kind of like, what is going on? I just want answers, but like there's so much and then you're not getting these answers, so you just keep reading and reading. So that's been a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to finish this by like Thursday or Friday. And then I want to read Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. So I got the physical book from my library. I put a hold on like every format that I could find: the ebook, the audiobook, and the physical book. I managed to get the ebook pretty quickly, actually. I was like one of the first people to get a hold. I actually got the audiobook like right away, within a day, and then I was just kind of like, I really don't want to read this as an audiobook. I kind of want to read it with my eyes. And so then I actually ended up getting the ebook in shortly after, and then I just didn't read it. I just wasn't in the mood. I've been reading a lot of fantasy. I just finished Crescent City 3, and I was just like, I just need a break. So I returned it before I even started it, and I was just waiting for my hold on the physical book to happen, and I finally got it. It's shorter than Iron Flame, I think. I think Iron Flame was like 800 something pages, or like 700. This one is like under 600, so that's kind of interesting. I'm very excited to get into this. I really loved Iron Flame and Fourth Wing. I just thought they were a lot of fun. I think it's just like a fun romantasy book, and I do think Onyx Storm, people were saying, was a bit more boring. I think maybe because it has a bit more like politics in it, which I love politics, so I'm kind of really excited to get into it. I know a lot of people also didn't like Iron Flame because the two main characters were just bickering back and forth the entire time. I'm like way off center, sorry y'all, but I enjoyed it, so like it doesn't take much to please me. So yeah, so I'm excited to get into this. But in between Quicksilver and Onyx Storm, I might actually instead read a different book, just because going from one romantasy into another might be a bit much. So I have Wake Up Nat and Darcy by Kate Cochrane. I showed this in the last reading vlog, and it's like a sapphic hockey romance, which I read like the off-campus series, and that was just a lot of fun, so I kind of want to read this as well. The only thing that I'm nervous about is that I'm gonna get like a fine from the library or something. I don't know if I'll be able to read all these books in time to submit them back into the library. So if I finish Quicksilver by like Thursday or Friday, then I could spend the rest of the weekend reading this contemporary romance. And it's not very long, it's 340 pages, so I think that'll be okay. And so I'll talk a bit more about this book when we get into it. And so then I'm thinking that then next week I can get into Onyx Storm and we can read that. I don't think it's due for a bit longer. Due March 31st. Okay. No, that's this weekend. Oh, what am I gonna do? They could put a hold on my account, which means I just wouldn't be able to check anything out, I don't think. Which I don't need to be checking anything out right now, so I think that'll be okay. I am planning on reading it, so yeah, I think what I'll do is read Quicksilver, and then we'll read Wake Up Nat and Darcy, and try and finish this one up pretty quickly, and then we'll spend next week reading Onyx Storm, and then give it back to the library, because obviously other people are wanting to read it as well, and I already feel bad that I like got the date wrong. I thought it wasn't due this week, I thought it was due next week, so that's my bad, but I'll read it as quickly as I can and then return it so that way the next person can read it. I think I'm kind of just checking too much stuff out from the library right now. Like really, I should like put a pause on Quicksilver. Like that would be the smart move actually. Or I can read Onyx Storm and Quicksilver at the same time and do like Quicksilver at the gym and like out of the house, and then Onyx Storm here at home. Yeah, I'll let you all know what I end up choosing. I'm having such a hard time talking because I can't breathe. Yeah, anyway, okay, bye. See y'all later. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. So it is Wednesday. I had such a long day at work today. I was going to go to the gym after work today, but I did not sit down once at work today for the 5.5 hours that I was there. Because our autoclave broke, you know anything about science, an autoclave is basically a giant like pressure cooker in a sense, and we use it to like sterilize media for microbiology and also to get rid of biohazardous waste like pathogenic microorganisms. And so our lab is like a BSL-2, so nothing like too serious, but like, you know, you might get sick if you decide to ingest some of the bacteria there, but like, you know, it's very safe and everything. And a lot of strains are like non-pathogenic, but we do have a few things that are pathogenic. And so the autoclave broke. Normally I'm like responsible for like doing the waste disposal, is kind of how things have ended up. At my job, I'm like the only person who does both chemical waste disposal and biohazardous waste disposal. It is not time for dinner. So I spent like the entire day troubleshooting it. And I still don't know what's wrong. It was nothing that I did. Like, I don't think. Kind of our working theory is that something's wrong with like some of the sensors or something. So we've been trying to call the maintenance and stuff, but it's kind of out of my hands at this point, which is nice. I was really stressing about it. But anyway, so I've done a bit of journaling and I haven't read anything like currently. I did read a bit this morning. I didn't read a whole lot last night, so I was hoping to get to page 400 and I did not. This morning I got to page 348. I think I was like at like 312 last night or something. So I got to 348 today, and yeah, I have nothing else to do today, so I'm just gonna be reading. Still really enjoying it. I feel like not much has happened, despite the fact that I'm like 60% of the way through. There is like a bit of a plot with the main character trying to, you know, help with the war cause. And so we've actually gone to like the war front, and so a few things have happened there, but it's very like small isolated incidents, and so I think just a lot of things are happening and eventually it'll kind of come together at the end. So yeah, very excited to keep reading. I think I will hop into Even Though I Knew the End on Friday, and then spend the weekend and however many days into next week reading Onyx Storm. The library book will be a little late, which I hate doing, but it will be probably like November when I get this book again from the library. So it's only going to be a few days late, so I'm just going to deal with it and just turn it in as soon as I'm done. I feel bad making people wait. I realize that I am part of the problem, but I don't want to wait until like December, November to read it. I'd like to read it now, and I should have started it before, but I just wasn't in the mood. So yeah, so we're definitely going to be getting into that soon, which is exciting. I got water on my shirt. Please ignore that. Hello. So, it is Friday. I don't think I filmed yesterday. If I did, I didn't talk to the camera. But yeah, I finished Quicksilver. I adored it. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Just purely on enjoyment levels, I really loved it. I will say some things were a little stereotypical of like a romantasy kind of novel, but that's totally okay. Like, I recognize that not everything is going to be unique, you know? I am very proud of myself because I kind of figured out what was going on with the quicksilver, which is kind of like a big part of this book. It's kind of this type of metal, and I kind of figured out what was going on with that because of a different book that I read. Just kind of based on the description of the quicksilver, I was like, oh my god, this is like what's gonna happen. And I was right, so I was like very proud of that. Not to say that they like copied that book, obviously, but that book that I read was like kind of the first time I had kind of read about that type of like magic. Like there's this one main property of the quicksilver that was sort of like reiterated throughout the book, and I was like, that reminds me of this book, and this is how they dealt with it, so I think this is how they're gonna deal with it. And I was right. I also really love the relationship between the female and male main character. I actually felt like it was a pretty decent, like, I wouldn't say it's enemies to lovers. Like I would not go into it thinking that it's enemies to lovers. It's definitely a strong like hate to love, just because when I think enemies I think like murder. And there really wasn't that. It was just kind of like a strong hatred towards each other, just because the guy at the beginning was very like not a great person. And so kind of throughout the novel it was really nice to kind of see him change a bit. He has like his reasons for like why he's like struggling so bad, and like obviously it's not fair to take it out on the female main character, but I feel like it's a pretty valid reason with like what he's grappling with. We'll say maybe some like plot devices were like pretty convenient. There was like a big one at the end that kind of helped wrap up the book, and I will say maybe that one is a bit convenient. And then sort of like there's a very big ending like plot point kind of thing that we're left off on, and that's I feel like was a little predictable. I like wasn't surprised that that was gonna happen when it did, but honestly like enjoyment wise, like I said, like 5 stars. I just really had so much fun with it. Like I could be critical about it and maybe give it like a 4 star or like a 4.5 star. I feel like a 4 star is too low just because my enjoyment of the book was so high, you know? I try not to rate things too critically. Like that's not like my vibe. I like to just kind of rate based on enjoyment, and I just really love that book, so that's great. I'm very excited for book 2. I'm curious how it's gonna go because of some of the events at the end of the book, and so I'm very curious. I have no idea if it's only gonna be like a duology or if it's gonna be, you know, multiple books, but I am excited. Also, the covers are getting redone. A lot of people don't like the original cover, which is the one with the kingfisher on the front, and I actually don't mind it. I actually think it's really nice. I just hate the size of it because it's like quite a tall paperback, and when there's just like randomly tall paperbacks within like my average size paperbacks, like Priory of the Orange Tree is super tall, Shadow of the Gods is super tall, they just stick out and I don't like that. I actually like the original cover, I just hate the height of it. I preferred if it was like a bit wider, you know, and a bit shorter, so that way it could like match neatly with the rest of my books. And now we are on to the next book, and I've only read 7 pages. So this is Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. I decided to pick this up because obviously it's pretty small, and also because it's on my physical TBR, so I can knock that out as well. I'm trying to read like 2 books a month from my physical TBR. I missed kind of last month just because I was reading the Kindle mostly, and so I have a few days left of March, and I was like, what's the smallest book on my shelf? And it's Even Though I Knew the End. And so this is like a sapphic, like historical fantasy kind of book, and so you have Helen, and she's a magical detective, and in the first few pages, she's at like a crime scene taking photos, and we actually just met her brother, and he doesn't seem too happy to see her. So apparently, Helen actually saved her brother's life at one point, and so she sold her soul in order to do this, and she then will like spend an eternity in hell. And so she kind of gets one last job before going to serve this eternity in hell. And so when she turns it down, there's a client who sweetens up the pot by offering up the one payment she can't resist, the chance to have a future where she grows old with the woman she loves. And so she has 3 days to track down the White City Vampire, Chicago's most notorious serial killer. I remember like just seeing this, and it had like a half-off sticker, which kind of is what drew me to it. And the first time I saw this in the store, I was like, no, I'm not gonna get it, it's so short, like I don't really see the point. And then I went back to like Barnes & Noble for some reason, and I was just staring at it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. I don't typically like historical anything, but this one's sapphic, so I think we'll give it a go. And yeah, so I haven't read like any of this. It is 133 pages. I also just saw the first sentence of the last chapter, so that's great. I won't say what it was. So it kind of just spoiled the ending of the book for me, but that's fine. I'm just excited to read it. I've never really read like novellas or anything, so I'm excited to get into this one, and I'm curious to see if it'll kind of be like a pretty good novella. Really the only good novella kind of sized book that I've read is Six Scorched Roses. Like that one actually felt like a book despite only being like 150 pages, and so since this is kind of getting up there in that page range, I am hoping that it'll be pretty good. I had plans to finish this today, but I have been knitting quite a lot. I finished my sweater that I've been working on. I still need to tuck in this loose end, but it looks like this. The edge kind of rolls up a little bit on purpose, so sometimes it like flips up, but yeah, the neckline, it looks a little funky, but I'm just rolling with it. Yeah, I love it. I love the color. It's so pretty. And so I've just kind of been working on that all day as opposed to reading. So I haven't really touched this until like a little while ago, and my twin sister actually came back into town, so I've been, you know, hanging out with her, hanging out with the family, and so I just haven't read this. So I'm gonna see how far I can get before I fall asleep. I could like finish this tonight if I stayed up to read it. I just don't know if I'm going to, but I can definitely maybe get like halfway tonight and then finish up in the morning, and then we can start Onyx Storm tomorrow and get into that. So yeah, anyway, I think that's my update for now, my update for today, and I will talk to you all a bit more tomorrow, maybe when I finish this book. Okay, bye. So I've reached Act 2 of Even Though I Knew the End. I'm loving this so far. I'm only like 35 pages in, but I'm obsessed with Helen, the main character. She has so much like charisma. She's like flirting with everybody, and I'm like swooning every 5 seconds. But we've basically just like encountered all the stuff on the back cover. So it starts off with Helen at a crime scene taking photos and realizing that the like very notorious serial killer in Chicago where they're at, the White City Vampire, yeah, is responsible for it. And she's like, I'm not dealing with this stuff, because she sold her soul to the devil a while ago. In 3 days time, she is like done, like that's all of her time spent, you know, so then she has to go spend an eternity in hell. And so she's like, I'm not dealing with the serial killer. I'm trying to like get my girlfriend settled, like, and figure out how to leave her, you know. But her like boss, whose name is Marlowe, I think is her name, yeah, Marlowe, kind of offers her a deal that she can have her soul back and $1,000 if she ends up finding like the White City Vampire. So that's kind of where we're at, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm just gonna keep reading it. I have like an hour before I need to do anything. Actually, I do need to take a shower and wash my hair. Me and my family are going to be hanging out today, which is really fun. All together for the first time in quite a while, since like Christmas. We're all gonna go to my brother's and we're gonna hang out, and he's gonna make a bunch of food, and that'll be a lot of fun. And so I'm just gonna be reading this on and off today. I was gonna finish it last night, but I fell asleep after like 8 pages. I have plans on finishing it today, and then I'm thinking that we can start Onyx Storm maybe later tonight or tomorrow. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go take a shower and get ready for the day, maybe read for another 10 or 15 minutes if I have time, and then go hang out with my family. So yeah, so I'll give y'all more updates later. Good morning, everyone. So today is Sunday, and last night I finished Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk.
There's a reason why I don't read historical fiction and like historical romance too much. Unless it's like a Harlequin romance or like kind of like historical romances that are kind of written right now through like a contemporary lens, if that makes sense. I feel like those have like the intent to like have a happy ending. But I always feel like with kind of just like historical romances that aren't kind of in those like subgenres, I guess. I don't know, hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. Like a happy ending is not always the goal, and this ending is like semi-happy. It's like bittersweet, and I cried. Not a lot, but I just like there was a few tears that came out. This is why I don't read historical fiction. It makes me sad. So last night I was gonna start Onyx Storm, but I was like, I cannot. But I loved this book so much despite the fact that I was so sad. I would love to see this as a full-length novel. I think it would be so cool. There's so much to this world, like there's so much world building with like the little bits that are in here, and I think it just creates like such a cool atmosphere. Like it feels very atmospheric with a lot of what is being said. And then I really loved Helen and Edith. Those are our two main characters, and kind of where Edith's kind of plot line went I thought was really cool. And obviously like some of the other characters weren't really fleshed out just because it's a novella. Like there's not much we can do, you know, in this short amount of pages. And obviously Helen and Edith could also have had more to them, but overall I just really loved everything about this book. Yeah, so I'm glad to have finally read that and to have finished like my 2 books each month off my physical TBR, so that's great. So we are officially moving on to Onyx Storm. Now I'm not going to start it right now. I've been knitting. I started a new scarf. It's like a combination of like this pink and green yarn. I don't know if it looks good or not, but I think it's kind of fun. So I'm gonna keep working on this, and Emmy Rossum just came out with a YouTube video, so I'm gonna watch that. And then I'm debating on watching an Iron Flame and like Fourth Wing recap. I watched one last night, but it was like 8 minutes, and I found one that's a bit longer that's like 45 minutes, so I'm thinking of watching that and then getting into Onyx Storms. Yeah, we'll see, but we're definitely starting Onyx Storm today and just reading as much as I can. I really don't want to go back to work tomorrow. That's what Monday brings. I'm thinking that we will keep continuing this vlog until I finish Onyx Storm, and then I guess end it there. We'll see. I haven't done anything interesting in this vlog, I do apologize, but I'm hoping actually the next vlog will be a bit more interesting, just because I am going somewhere and I'm going to be filming it, hopefully. I probably won't get a lot of clips, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm going to keep knitting and watch a few YouTube videos. I got fiber in my nose. It is a little while later and I haven't really been reading a whole lot, to be honest. I've been working on my scarf and you can see it's grown quite a bit. I think it looks cute. I don't know. I wonder if I should have done like maybe more contrasting colors, because it's very subtle and I feel like it's coming up like peach on screen
Honestly, maybe it feels a little peach in life, in real life too. Maybe that's just what happens when you mix these two colors together, because I do feel like it pulls a bit peach sometimes, but honestly, it's not too bad. I like it. And I wanted to show you all the dress that I got. So I'm going to a party. My best friend is getting married, and so she's having a party to have like a bunch of people. Both her and the groom have very massive families, so she's having like a big party to kind of like invite everyone, because there's gonna not like the wedding's gonna be pretty small. So I bought a dress for that. It's super cute, very happy with it. I thought it was gonna be too big, just because the measurements online were really funky, but it fits perfectly. And it has like a tie back, so that's really cute. Right now, I'm kind of waiting for a YouTuber to upload a YouTube video today, because this is when they usually upload. They may not upload today though. Watch that happen, because sometimes they miss an upload, which is like fine, but I'm always like waiting for their upload on Sunday, and I'm sad sometimes when they don't upload. I'm not very far into Onyx Storm. I'm only about 16 pages in. I don't know how much I can talk about this, just because it is the third book in a series. I have tabbed off every 100 pages. It's 527 pages, so if I read like 100 pages a day and maybe read like a few extra pages, then I'll have it done by Thursday, and then I can turn it in, because it's due tomorrow actually. But if I turn it in now, I'm not going to get it for several more months, so I'm just going to battle it out at the library for a few days. If you don't know anything about Fourth Wing, or Iron Flame, or Onyx Storm, they are all in this series called the Empyrean, and I believe it's going to be like 5 books, which is great because I thought it was only going to be a trilogy. And when I read the second book, I was like, I don't know how they're going to fit all this into the third book and like resolve all of this. And I think it's supposed to be like 5 books, which is great. And so the first book, Fourth Wing, follows Violet Sorrengail, and so there's like in their world, in their like, you know, country kind of place, there's kind of like 4 careers that you can go into. And so you can be in the infantry, you can be a healer, you can be a scribe, and or you can go into the Rider's Quadrant. And the Rider's Quadrant ride dragons, and they're kind of like the protectors and stuff along with the infantry. Healers heal, and then the scribes are kind of like the scholars. They record the history and whatnot. And so at the beginning of the book, Violet Sorrengail is going to be going into the scribe quadrant, and so she's deciding to go into the scribe quadrant. It's what she's been preparing for her whole life, and at the last second her mom is like, no, you're going to go into the Rider's Quadrant. And pretty much everyone in her family has been in the Rider's Quadrant, and Violet is pretty worried. She always wanted to be a scribe, and she also has a physical disability. I forgot what the name of the disability is called. I believe the author has like mentioned what it is, and so I'll put it on the screen here. But it makes like her joints pretty difficult, like they don't stay in, they kind of pop out a lot, and she's just has a lot of like physical kind of chronic illness, you know, and pain and whatnot. But she ends up in the Rider's Quadrant anyway, and there's a bunch of like initiation kind of things going on, and somehow she makes it through. And then kind of the next challenge is she gonna bond with the dragon or not? Things happen, and there's also this dude named Xaden, and he's kind of like our love interest, our main male character. And so Violet somehow gets wrapped up in like a lot of plots and things that she really wasn't expecting. What's also kind of interesting about the Rider's Quadrant is that it's like a war college almost. Well, not even almost, it's a war college, and so she's having to survive the war college when it kills a lot of people because it's so harsh and people are just dying left and right. And so then that kind of is like, well then how are people actually signing up for this, you know, and like how are they keeping a constant stream of young adults to come into, you know, this quadrant? But that somehow they do. Violet, like I said, kind of gets drawn into a bunch of different plots, and she's kind of starting to question, you know, some of the things that the leadership are teaching and like saying and whatnot. So yeah, and there's 2 ways to get out of this Gaiath War College. It's graduate or die. So yeah, I was really surprised with like the first book with actually how like ruthless the like books are. Like I feel like a lot of times like books are often like, oh, it's like so like treacherous and like, you know, and like so many people die and yada yada, and then like no one dies.
and I was really shocked like reading this book because it was like a regular thing that things like this happen. And so like reading it, like, you know, reading the first book, I was like, oh my god, I like was not expecting this to actually be kind of brutal. Like, it was kind of nuts that like a lot of people are actually dying, because I feel like a lot of authors never follow through on this, you know, this idea, you know? So yeah, so I kind of like really enjoyed that about Fourth Wing. And then like, you know, it isn't like a literary masterpiece, it's a romantasy. And so a lot of people like either love it or hate it, and I thought I was gonna hate it, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was just a fun time, and I don't really take things too seriously. I think I've mentioned this before, so yeah, I had a fun time. And I actually really liked Iron Flame. I think a lot of people actually didn't like Iron Flame, or at least didn't like it as much as Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was kind of viral and like an instant hit. Was it? I think it was. And like pretty much everyone loved Fourth Wing or they hated it, and Iron Flame was kind of like little like bits of more of like a mixed feeling kind of thing, mainly because the two main characters kind of bickered at each other the entire book. So maybe we will have less of that in this book, but I still really enjoyed it. Like I said, my standards are low, so I pretty much enjoy most of what I read. So now we're finally on to Onyx Storm, and I'm excited to get into this because after the events of the second book, especially with how it ended, I'm just like so nervous. Oh my gosh. And I really hope the main thing that happened in the last book, in the last few pages, if you know, you know, I'm really hoping it does not get resolved quickly. Like, I want that like tension, you know? I want to just be on the edge of my seat the entire time. I want this to be, like, this needs to be solved in the last 100 pages at the earliest, you know? Like, and it, yeah. And if it goes into book 4, I'm gonna freak out, and it'll be like a good freak out. But yeah, so that's really exciting. So I need to get into reading this because it is now like 6 p.m. and I'm only 16 pages in. So I would like to read my 100 pages and get that finished up. And then I think I'll honestly take it to work tomorrow because I can sometimes get to work a little bit early and I'll read. And then we need to pick a Kindle book actually. I go to the gym after work. I try to. And so because I'm not doing school right now anymore, well, I'll start it back up eventually, but because I'm not doing school right now, I've kind of been going to the gym for like an hour. Normally I just go for like 30 minutes, but I've kind of gotten out of that habit. So tomorrow I'm gonna start going back an hour at a time. And so we need to pick another book to read. So I have a few. So mainly fantasy. I think they're all fantasy. So I have The Valkyrie's Shadow, which is the second book in Sigrid and the Valkyries, I think is what it's called. The first book was a lot of fun. And so I actually can't really remember what the second book is supposed to be about. So maybe we'll read that. I also have Metal Slinger, which is recommended by Amy Rosem. She really loved that book, and so I'm debating on trying that out. I have the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I liked the first book. It was very stereotypical, you know, fantasy romance kind of book, but I had a fun time. Just a little predictable, so, you know, maybe I'll read the second one, but who knows? I think it's The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King is the second one. Okay, maybe this is my Kindle's way of telling me I should read Crowns of Nyaxia book 2 because it opened it up. I then also have Duty and Desire by Hollis Darling. I think this is like a sapphic pirate romance is what it is. I don't remember. So we'll figure it out tomorrow, whatever sparks my interest. Maybe we'll read like the Crowns of Nyaxia series just to kind of get that one more completed, because this one is actually, Duty and Desire is actually in a series. So yeah, okay, bye. Hello, everyone. So, please ignore my dogs. They are very loud. Of course, someone's mowing. Oh my god. So, it is Thursday. I haven't talked to y'all in a few days. I do apologize. I find it hard to update during the week just because, like, I come home from work and I read and, like, that's about it. And like nothing changes. Whereas during the weekend, I feel like there's more time to talk about stuff and like I may go out somewhere. Although sometimes I don't, but I don't know, I just feel like it's easier to talk to y'all on the weekends, so I haven't been filming. I do have a few updates. So update number 1 is that my hold on Lost and Lassoed came in from the library. I was very excited for this book because it follows 2 characters that I've been wanting to see get together. If you don't know, this is a part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. The first book is Done and Dusted, the second is Swift and Saddled, the third is Lost and Lassoed, and then the 4th book actually comes out in like 2 weeks, and it is Wild and Wrangled, I think. Okay, we're just gonna have to manage with the lawn mowing. I do apologize. I feel like I'm always apologizing for some sort of noise. Anyway, so I started reading Lost and Lassoed, right? And you're probably like, Hailey, don't you have, or aren't you trying to finish Onyx Storm by Monday or Thursday? Yeah, hasn't happened. We'll get into it. But I have been reading Lost and Lassoed on my Kindle, and it's just been great because I'm able to take it to the gym. I'm able to take it to work if I have time to read. I usually don't, but if I get there a bit early, then I'll read a chapter or 2. It's a very quick and easy read. That's what I really loved about this series. It's just so quick to read. And so I don't know how far along I am in it. I almost don't want to say who the main characters are just because I don't want to like spoil it for anybody if they kind of want to go in blind with the 2 characters. But I am really loving it so far. I'm on chapter 28, page 200. I think it's like 320 pages or so. So I'm close to being done. I could finish this tonight and that'd be great. But I may just read it a bit like throughout the weekend as opposed to just binging it tonight. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun and I really like these 2 characters. It's kind of going from a hate to love kind of thing, and I feel like they have a valid reason to hate each other, at least like the female main character does. I feel like a lot of the times with like hate to love, or what people swear is enemies to lovers, is like stealing someone's like stapler or like just not communicating with someone, like, you know? And it's like, that is not enemies to lovers. I feel like you can't really have enemies to lovers unless it's like a fantasy book, because when I think enemies to lovers, I think like murder and like attempted murdering and whatnot, which I feel like you really only get in fantasy books unless like you're into darker romance. But yeah, so this one's like a good hate to love. Also, please excuse my bangs. I cut them and I need to wash them, so that's on the to-do list tonight. So for now, this is what we're working with. And nothing really has happened in the book. Well, a big event, well, not a big event, but something happened with the character's dad recently, so we've just gotten into that. And then I don't really know what else is going to happen in the book. These books really don't have big plots. It's mainly like character driven, but it's just an easy, fun time to read, so I am excited to get to this and like finish it just in time for book 4. So hopefully when my library gets book 4 in, I can very quickly put in a hold and read that. Also from my library, I just got in Sunrise on the Reaping. Haven't started it, probably won't start it till like this weekend or like next Monday, which I haven't even read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I probably should, but I don't think you have to read it to go into Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm gonna look that up. If I do, then I'll just return Sunrise on the Reaping. But yeah, so I'm gonna read that as well. I have so many books checked out from the library right now, it's kind of ridiculous. So like this weekend, I'm gonna be finishing up Onyx Storm and then Lost and Lassoed. Next week I'll read Sunrise on the Reaping, and then I still have 2 physical books, and thankfully those don't have any holds on them, so I kind of can keep them indefinitely until someone puts a hold on them. So those will be for after Sunrise on the Reaping. In terms of Onyx Storm, not much progress has been made. I have read 110 pages. Because today is Thursday, I should almost be done with this book based on my 100-page a day since Sunday. But I just haven't like been reading really a whole lot. I kind of have been a little busy this week actually after work. So really the only time I've been able to read is at the gym or kind of before work if I have time. So that's why I've been reading Lost and Lassoed, and I should be bringing Onyx Storm to read, but it's just easier to bring the Kindle as opposed to a giant book, you know? So this weekend I really don't have much to do. Saturday, I do need to go all the way to Schulenburg. It's gonna be kind of a whole day thing, which kind of sucks, but I'm going there for a friend's like wedding party. So I do have that on Saturday, but I'm thinking that we can just get a lot of reading done this week, or like this weekend, and finish up these 2 books, and I think that'll be great. In terms of Onyx Storm, I'm finally really getting into it. It has been a little hard, which is kind of why I haven't really picked it up, because there is a lot with like the politics of this world now. Like wars are happening, like there's what's not contracts, alliances being formed and stuff, and like treaties being signed and whatnot. I have not been able to remember anything, even with the 2 recaps that I watched. I like was going into it and I was like, what is this country? Who is this person? Why are we concerned about this? Like, what is going on? But finally, I feel like I got the hang of it again, and I'm like back in the world, so like I feel okay now. So I'm excited just to keep reading now. We had a certain event happen, and I'm so intrigued about what's gonna happen with that, because I'm like, that sounds like kind of a cool thing, and I feel like there's something here. So yeah, my bookmark of choice is Good Girls Read Spicy Books. So yeah, I think we're finally getting into a bunch of stuff. And one thing that I like about this book is that at the top of the chapter headings, there's usually like a quote from like a certain body of text in the world. And this one is very interesting. I'm on chapter 13, so if you have the book and like you've read it and you want to look at that chapter like heading quote thing, I'm so curious to know what happens. So yeah, so we're going to be reading a lot of this today. I do, however, want to journal a bit. I was going to film this and I just completely forgot, but I made a collage and it's so cute. I love it. I have been wanting to make collages and just like, you know, paste in like book photos. Like here's like a bunch of book photos. I've been wanting to do this for so long. Like here's another one. And I'm just so happy to finally get to do this because I have a printer. It's my mom's printer, but I bought the most recent like amount of ink, box of ink. So I can do whatever I want with it. And so my mom says as long as I buy the ink, like she doesn't mind if I use it. So that's really great. So I made this really fun collage of Even Though I Knew the End, which I've decided is my favorite book of March. So I really want to write a review and like my thoughts and stuff. I don't do this with every book just because I'm lazy, and I've tried doing that with like 2 reading journals before and I just get burned out with the reading journals. So I just kind of write a review when I want to and kind of call it a day. Definitely want to read a lot of Onyx Storm tonight though. It'd be great if we could get to like the 300-page mark. I doubt that will happen, but I think I'd like to read a big chunk of it today and tomorrow, especially. So yeah, anyway, bye. Hello everyone, so I don't think I've talked since yesterday. It is quite late, it is like 9 p.m. and I've been reading all day, so I'm here. I have read so much today. I think I was at page like 180. I didn't even make it to page 200 last night because I was so tired. And I am now almost to page 350, so I've just been having a blast. Yeah, I've had such a fun day reading today. I kind of started reading around like 1 probably. I kind of just spent the morning journaling and kind of just watching some YouTube videos, knitting, and then I spent most of the time watching through my most recent reading vlog, the reading vlog prior to this one, so that I could upload it and get it scheduled. And that was the spinner wheel picks my like pages video, and that was so much fun to film, and I really enjoyed that challenge, so I definitely want to do it again. I think doing some sort of challenge is really helpful in reading vlogs, because sometimes I just feel like I'm so like aimless with reading vlogs that don't have like a specific like purpose. Like with this vlog, I'm like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna read this many pages, and then I don't read anything, you know, and then I come back the next day and I'm like, LOL, didn't read, but today I'm gonna read, and then I don't read anything, and then I come back the next day. So I feel like the spinner challenge was a really good challenge, and I love 24-hour reading vlogs, but I don't think I'm like a 24-hour reading vlog person. I don't know, maybe one day we'll try it again. But anyway, that being said, I have just been having a fun time reading today. I really just wanted to read today once I got, you know, the video finished, and I was just looking forward to not having anything to do today so I could read as much as I wanted. And so I've read like almost 200 pages today, which I feel like is pretty good. Like I mentioned, the font is like really small and the margins are really tiny, and my concentration isn't that great, but I've been really hooked in this book for quite a bit, so I've just been having a lot of fun today. I can see how people maybe would not like this book, because I think I've seen some people say that they actually don't like Onyx Storm, because I feel like it is a bit slower, I guess, maybe, I don't know, but we've spent like maybe like 100+ pages like on searching for stuff, and just like a lot of like flying and like meeting new people and whatnot, but like we're not without entertaining things happening, you know, like things are happening. Now I'm just rambling, so I'm gonna read and I'll see y'all tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. So it is like 11:30 on Sunday, and I'm gonna spend the day finishing Onyx Storm, and then we might also finish Lost and Lassoed too. I have 100 pages left in both books, so I think we will finish up Onyx Storm right now, and then sort of in the afternoon we will finish up Lost and Lassoed. I have made it to page 424, and this book has 524 pages. Okay, so I just finished Onyx Storm. Sorry, we're just gonna have to deal with the light right here. So yeah, I finished Onyx Storm. I don't know how to feel. I was like fine with the ending. What I thought was gonna happen actually didn't happen. Something else happened. And so I was like, okay, well that's interesting. We've ended on another cliffhanger, obviously. And now I have more questions. If you've read Onyx Storm, you'll know like the last, you know, chapter, what happens. And so I went on TikTok to like, you know, look up Onyx Storm stuff, and someone drew out kind of that last scene. I thought I was fine, and then all of a sudden I saw that video and I was like, oh, this hurts. I was so upset like after I saw that video of like that event, and so I was just like, So yeah, I'm very sad right now. I always forget how much I love like romantasy and like fantasy and stuff, and then I get like a really good book that, even if it's not, you know, the best thing ever written, it just is so good, you know? I loved basically every single minute of this book. I loved all the politics. I loved, you know, the traveling that had to be done. I loved the ending. I love the main characters even more now. Sometimes I find that as a series progresses, I like the characters even more, like the main romantic couple, because in the first book, I feel like authors kind of just rush to get them together, and so then I don't really like them as much. But as time goes on and we get more of them in each book, then I like the relationship a lot more. And so kind of with the ending scene in this book, yeah, my heart hurts. So anyway, I don't know what to do with my life right now. I'm debating on finishing Lost and Lasso today, but I might wait like a few hours and like read it before bed, just because I feel like I need to like sit with Onyx Storm for a bit, and like let it sink in and whatnot. But then I definitely want to read something happy, so I think we'll do that later. Hello everyone. It's I wouldn't say it's quite late, it's like 7:30, and so I am winding down for the night. We start a new week of work tomorrow, which is so exciting. My boss is going to be gone for 2 weeks, so I am in charge, which is terrifying. I haven't talked a lot about Lost and Lassoed in this vlog. The ebook just kind of came suddenly into my holds on Libby, and so I just kind of started reading it and like wasn't planning on, you know, reading it, and it kind of just made its way into this vlog. So yeah, I can't remember if I've talked much about it, but I just finished it and I really enjoyed it. I think this has been my favorite one of the series so far. I feel like as each of the books, or as I've read each of the books, I have enjoyed them more and more. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I thought the two main characters were a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed them bickering back and forth, and to kind of see them slowly kind of, you know, fall in love. And yeah, again, nothing really happens in this series, if I'm being completely honest. It's mainly like a character-focused series, and I really liked the female main character, a lot of what she was struggling with in this book. She's kind of dealing a lot with like kind of being in a different place than like her best friend, who is like getting married and whatnot, and just kind of feeling like she doesn't know exactly like what she's supposed to do in life, and like, you know, everyone else is like seems to have it all figured out and they kind of know where they're going, and she's just kind of like, what the heck? And like, she just got fired from her job because the owner decided to sell the place, so she's just trying to figure out what is going on and why everyone is like moving on while she's, you know, stuck at the restaurant. Kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, I related a lot to that kind of storylines. I think this is the vlog. This is it, because I think it's been about a week now, maybe 2 weeks that I've been filming, so lots of things to edit. So to recap, I read and I loved Quicksilver. That was so much fun. Can't wait for the second book. Ending felt a little predictable, and so then I read Even Though I Knew the End, which y'all know I loved. Did I even really talk about it? I don't know, but I loved it. Broke my heart, but also I loved it at the same time. And then I read Onyx Storm, finished it today, loved it, just loved it even more than I thought I would. I really like where the series is going, and I have so many questions, especially how the book ended. Like I said, I saw that one TikTok and I just haven't been the same. Like, I feel empty inside. Like I mentioned, we kind of snuck in Lost and Lassoed in there, and I loved it as well. But probably give it like a 4-star. I really enjoyed it, and as I mentioned, I've just been loving the series more and more as it goes on. What do I start next? I have Sunrise on the Reaping. I might read that next and have that as my Kindle read. And then, of course, I have the 2 library books that I still have that I need to finish up. But thankfully, those ones don't have holds on them, so we're good there. I finished 2 books today. I feel good. It's only the first week of April, too. Reading slump. We don't know her. So, yeah, I think that is everything. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!